I'm Dr. Mike Murphy.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Microsoft Teams for online learning and instruction. I'll begin by showing you where to go in order to install the Teams client. Then I'll demonstrate using Teams for class meetings, show you how to contact your professor or advisor, and finally show you how to access Computing Sciences online tutoring. So let's begin by installing the Teams client. Although you can use Microsoft Teams using a web browser, if you choose to go that route, you do need to use either Chrome or Edge. I recommend that you get the Teams client because most of the features in Teams work to varying extents in a web browser. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But in the Teams client, all of the features will tend to work. So to get the Teams client, you can simply go to teams.microsoft.com/download. And the Teams client is available for Windows, for Mac, iOS, Android devices, as well as Linux desktops. So you can get the Teams app for basically any platform that you would have. So you download this, install it, and then you can use that application in order to access the Teams environment. Our next use of Microsoft Teams will be to join an online class meeting. Some classes may meet online at a specific time. If your professor makes Microsoft Teams available for your class, you can generally find an entry for your class if you go into the Microsoft Teams client and look under the Teams tab. Look for your class among the teams that you're currently a member of. Generally speaking, your class is going to begin with O365 _, then the prefix and number of the course, followed by the section number, followed by the current semester or summer session. So in this case, I have a CSCI 427 class that I've been teaching, and if I go to the team for that, you can see that there's this team entry. Now what will happen is if the professor is holding a synchronous class meeting, in other words, if the professor has class running online through Teams, you'll actually see an entry toward the bottom of the window, and there'll be a Join Meeting button. Now I don't have that here because at the time I'm making this video, I'm not also running a virtual class. But when I do, there'll be an entry for the virtual class, and then there'll be a Join Meeting button. Click that button, and you will join the class meeting. Another use of Microsoft Teams is to contact your professor or advisor. You might want to contact your professor to get extra help in a course, and you'll need to contact your advisor in order to figure out what courses to sign up for next semester. To contact your professor, you first need to know your professor's email address. This can be found by looking in Moodle for the course in question and looking for the course syllabus. The professor's contact information and email address should be somewhere on the syllabus, or in my case, linked from the syllabus. So here's my email address. To contact your advisor, you can log into WebAdvisor and click the Email My Advisors link. That will allow you to send an email to your academic advisor, and then your academic advisor can get back to you via email, and you can set up a meeting on Teams later. To contact your professor or advisor, you can use the Microsoft Teams client like this. So here I'm logged into Teams, and let's say I want to look for myself. Well, I can search for my username, okay, but this doesn't really work because Microsoft Teams is smart enough not to let you search for yourself. So, let me search for one of my colleagues. In this case, let me search for Professor Fox. If I look at my course syllabus, let's say I was a student in his course, or let's say he was my advisor, I could type the first part of his email address before the @ sign to look him up. So in this case, I happen to know he's Clint F, and there's his entry in Teams. So if I click that, it will open up a chat window that I can use to reach him. Now never mind that I've already been talking to him and that we kind of rigged this and set this up, but here's how you would communicate with your professor. You would say something like, "Hi, Professor Fox. I'm Murphy, student in your CSCI 356, let's say, class. I have a question." Okay? And so you would want to be polite. You would want to use proper English, proper grammar, and reach out to your professor that way. Now, depending on how busy your professor is, it could take a few minutes to get a reply, or it could take a little longer. Remember, other people might be in line ahead of you. So here, Professor Fox has replied to me and said, "Okay, how are you doing this evening?" "I'm doing well. How about yourself?" And so this is just like any other text-based messaging system that you might have used in the past. Now, if your professor is available to communicate via a call, then you could use this call button up here in the upper right to make a call. But make sure that they're ready for you to be able to take the call first, because they have other things going on. Their kids might be running around the house, etc. They might not be able to make a call or take a call at any given moment. Okay, so in this case, he says it's okay to call him, so I'll click the audio call button, and it's calling him. Okay, and now I have a call established with Professor Fox.
Hello.
And you may or may not be able to hear his voice coming back through the microphone. Now,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Professor Fox, yes.
All right.
All right, so while I'm talking to Professor Fox, there is the option for video. I don't have my camera plugged in, so I can't do video. In general, though, when you're talking to your faculty members, you're probably not going to be using video. You're probably instead just going to be using audio. But one feature that you probably will need to use, and that your professor can use to communicate back with you, is the screen sharing feature. So notice when I move my mouse over this call window, I have this little menu that pops up down here at the bottom. I have this little icon right here, this arrow going into a box, that if I hover over it, says share. If I click that icon and then pick a screen to share, here I'll share my screen recording program actually running, you can see that I'm, well, you can't see it, but Professor Fox should be able to see that I am sharing my screen with him.
Yes,
So,
I can see your screen with the grass and whatnot.
and he's confirming that he can see my screen with the grass in the background. So if I had code I wanted to ask him a question about, for example, or if I had an assignment that I was working on and I needed to show him what was going on, or say a Moodle quiz I had a question about, I could easily pull that up and show him using screen share. To end the screen sharing, I would bring my Microsoft Teams window back up, and I would click that icon again, and that would turn off the screen share. So this is how you'll communicate with your professor for office hours or for advising. Now when you're done communicating, you would say, "Thank you, Professor. I'll talk to you later."
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
And he acknowledges. So then we can end the call by pressing the hang up button. The final use of Microsoft Teams that I'm going to demonstrate is to show you how to access Computing Sciences tutoring online. To request tutoring from the Department of Computing Sciences, go to our department website at www.coastal.edu/computing. You'll see a link there to the tutoring services, and if you scroll down, you can see the tutoring schedule and who's on duty and which classes for which they can offer tutoring. To access the tutoring team, be sure you have your Microsoft Teams client installed and running, and then click this link here to the O365_CSCI_tutoring Microsoft team. If I click that, it will then offer, at least on my computer, to open this link using Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to use Teams, and now here I am in the team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a request. So I'm going to say, hello, I need some help with CSCI 140. Is anyone available? Now, none of our regular tutors are available at this particular time because I'm recording this in the evening. But I happen to know that my colleague Professor Fox is here somewhere, and I should get a response in a moment or two. Now, depending on how busy our tutors are during the regular tutoring hours, it may take a few minutes in order to get a response. So keep your eye on the tutoring team while you're awaiting that reply. Okay, now I have a reply from Professor Fox saying that he can help and that he'll message me directly. So I just need to wait. I can go ahead and reply and say, okay, thank you, to confirm that I'm still here and that I didn't get up and walk away from my keyboard. And now I have a message from him. Please enter your question. Note that you can drop files here in the chat. Okay, so in this case, I have some code that I need some help with. Okay, my code for some reason is not running. So, what I can do is I can actually either drag and drop. That's probably the easiest way to do it. So in this case, here is my file explorer. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this helpme.java to here. And I'll drop it. And then you have to hit enter to actually send the message. In this case, it tried to download it. Try this. There we go. You actually have to click off it and hit enter. So Microsoft Teams is a little bit strange in that it doesn't immediately send the file you drop. You actually have to put it in as part of a message. Okay, and then I'll get a response from him. And as you can see, it's giving me a typing notification indicating that he's typing. Once again, we're at the mercy of internet speeds here, so it could take a few moments to for him to get back to me. Now, while he's looking at the file, he's going to ask me to go ahead and sign into tutoring. So I'll do that. And it's going to ask for some information. You would put in your actual information here, of course. And yeah, I'll just pick I'm not sure for the tutor because it's not on the list. And I'm asking for tutoring in 140 and 140 lab. Okay. And so if I go back to the chat, then I just need to wait on him to get back to me. Now, there's a couple different ways the tutor can communicate with you. One possible way would be using text messaging just like we see here. And in fact, this is how a lot of us communicate on Teams in practice. I mean, you can see here just the communications I've had in the past week or so, all of which are in text. Now, he can initiate a private meeting, a call, where we actually make a voice call. That's what he's going to do here. And so I'll get a notification here in just a moment for the call. Okay, hello.
Hello.
And now Professor Fox is here to tutor me in the call.
And now we can actually share desktops back and forth, and there's a nice whiteboard and stuff we could use to scribble back and forth. Lots of tools we can use, and I guess the nicer thing is we can actually verbally communicate back and forth a lot easier than trying to type stuff and get points across that way, because I can pull up my desktop and you can pull up yours and whatnot.
Exactly. So we have the ability to use the built-in tools that are part of Teams. And just like when we're using the tools when we're communicating one-on-one with a professor, you can use those same tools when you're communicating with a tutor. So you can use the screen share. You can communicate via text or voice. And there are even some additional features if you click on this little three-dot menu. But most of these you won't really need. It's just the screen sharing and the ability to transfer files back and forth that are most important. And your tutor will help guide you through the process of getting help with your problem. Okay, so thank you, Professor Fox. I think I understand what my problem is now.
What was your problem?
Oh, he wants to know what my problem was. Well, I left out the S in system and left out the T in println and forgot to put a semicolon on my code, you know, just the usual stuff.
You got them all.
So he says I have it all. So when we're done tutoring, I will say, thank the tutor. So thank you, Professor Fox, for your assistance.
You're welcome, even though I didn't do anything.
Have a good day.
All righty, you too. And you will receive a email survey concerning the tutoring services. Please fill that out at your convenience.
I will do so. Thank you. And so then we end the call. After you've finished your tutoring session, you will receive an email inviting you to take a very short survey about your tutoring experience. We ask you to complete the survey because it helps us improve our tutoring offerings and helps us make any changes that we might need to make in order to make tutoring work better for you. So you'll get an email to look like this, and it'll have a link in here to take a brief survey. And so it is very short. So to what extent did today's tutoring help you with the material in the course? It was a great deal. And how can we improve? So I can say I had a good experience. Please keep the tutoring service available. Okay. But you would write your own comments as well as pick your own choice from the drop-down. You then hit submit, and your survey's been successfully submitted. So very quick, very easy, and this feedback will help us to offer better tutoring services to meet your needs.